Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burning G. All by this bread. Bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burning G. All by this bread. Now bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm first green ballin', trying to get my bread long. You know the game gone and my mind been blown. Different decisions that I done made got me fucked up now. Still gon' thug the life I'm living, still gon' hold this shit down. Every day of my life, yeah, nigga chasing trees, and I'm saying niggas that be around there won't see all your feet. My mama been doing bad, but I ain't going into that. I done picked that girl up when I caught my first package. I be damn, me and my people hurting for something for a day. That shit happened, the next man ain't getting nothing. Faded the root of evil, and that's my damn best friend. And I put that on my life, ain't nobody gon' fuck with him. You try to jam it, yeah, that ass getting chopped. Trying to serve ain't got no business on my block, I bet you're getting chopped. Now either way you try to fuck with my ballers, don't believe that ass getting chopped. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burning G. All by this bread. Bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burning G. All by this bread. Now bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm back in the mix. Them flaky niggas better stand down. Came home, got me some yam, I'm the man now. Niggas, some bitches all from my face, I ain't know who they is. Everybody up from my mix like I'm a hero and shit. Fall back, I'll buy a brick. Right now I'm on a mission, I'm giving you 2 for 20. Got grams going for 50. Putting that in my pockets, the nigga you bullshitting. What the fuck you ain't listen? I done told you I got to get it. Nobody depending on me, so it's all mine. I ain't stressing out by myself, that's how it going down. My mama fighting her little addiction, she gon' be alright. Before I ever tweaking and begging, I put something up on the pipe. It's a little fraction of my life, still all in for a lick. Lurking for faded, looking for niggas to tone mix. Start to lurking if I'm hurting, different side come out. That flip shit, stop the Jacob, Mr. High come out. Gonna be, you know how I played it all. That nigga burning G.
Welcome back to your favorite channel. It's your boy PBK Nines, giving it to you the way I always do. And unbiased. Some will like it, some ain't. Like I always say, man. Big shout out to the brothers down in the chat. John Denver, what's going on, man? What's going on? Big salute to the brother Ryan, 4089 in the building. Hey, I know about that Burning G, man. It just is what it is. Salute to all my Charleston people out there, man. Everybody from one side of Charleston to the other side of Charleston. Big salute and shout out to all my people out there. Big thank you to all the pet lovers across the world taking care of them animals and them pets the way they gotta take care of them, man. We got a little bit of dog talk we're gonna speak about today, man. We got a topic we're gonna talk about and figure out where my brothers and sisters at out here when it comes to these pets and when it comes to conditioning your animal and conditioning your pet. We're gonna start off by talking about getting the most out your dog. You know what I'm saying? Do you and how do you get the most out your dog? You know, and I'm gonna drop the link down in the chat for anybody that want to come up and talk about things that they do to get the most out of their dog. You know, because everybody do something different, and everybody might be trying to achieve the same goals, but they got different ways they go about it. And your way might be a little harder, and another brother might got an easier way to do it. You know, so that's why I'm gonna drop the link. And I appreciate everybody down in the chat and everybody listening, no matter where you at on this good old green earth. Like I always say. Big Jank, what's going on? What's going on with you? Appreciate you dropping in tonight, man. Taryn Cole, what it is, what's going on? Let me drop that link. Like I said, this link for anybody, man, they want to speak on the topic that we talking about. Getting the most out your dog, and how do you get the most out your dog, and when do you know that you've gotten the most out your dog? But, you know, we know that's pretty much the topic we're going to speak on. Dropping that link down in the chat. And I'll keep dropping it throughout the night. Trevor Levy, what's going on, my brother? How you doing tonight, man? Hey, Trevor, I got my hands full over here. I'm trying to raise a set of twins. I'm trying to raise a set of twins like you got up over there. Big salute to all my Red Boy Jocko brothers out there, man. My Jeep brothers, my Eli brothers. Big salute to them Eli brothers, because I always got to say that's the biggest mob of dog brothers in the game. You know what I'm saying? Bigger than the Dallas Cowboys when it comes to football. Them Eli brothers, they deep, boy. I'm telling you. They deep. Big salute to them Eli brothers, them Bolio brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like I always say, the Rascal brothers, the Kobe brothers. Whatever line of dogs or family of dogs you running, the old family red dogs. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir, man. Like I said, how do you get the most out your dog? What foods do you use? What food do you have to have? Whether it's a dog food that you have to have or a house food that you have to have in order to get your dog in that shape. Like you may can use any kind of, you may be the type of person that can use any kind of kibble, any kind of dog food, but you gotta have this certain vegetable or this certain protein that you use, or you know, certain things that you gotta have. And it's gonna be hard to say that what you're doing is probably like you're the only person doing it, period. You're probably just the only person that you know doing it. Somebody else probably doing the same thing. So ain't that really being kept secret. You know, we ain't trying to keep that like, oh, we want to keep a secret. Can't let nobody know what I'm doing to get my dogs healthy. But like I said, we all know the same stuff. You know, some brothers just know how to get to it a little bit faster. Trevor Mills. Insane Honey Badger in the building, rocking with the Bay tonight, man. Insane Badger, I'm just talking to the brothers. Like I said, the topic tonight is getting the most out your dogs. How do you know when you got the most out your dogs? And what do you do in order to get the most out your dogs when you take them to an event or some type of show or something? You know? Now, Taryn Cole said sweet potatoes, broccoli, and blueberries. Now, see, I got to get my brother Track Life to get up here to give me a good show on feeding dog fruits and how can that help in certain ways that I can add to my program, because he do a lot of fruit feeding, you know. But sweet potatoes, I know because they be on them bags of that Taste of the Wild, I want to say. I think that's the bags they be on. Sweet potatoes, you know, broccoli, any of them greens like that gonna be good. And blueberries I heard was good for dogs. And see, when you adding these type of things to your dog food, it don't matter what kind of dog food you buy. Really, you know, I mean, it does matter, but at the same time, it don't matter. You know, you don't got to go buy no expensive dog food. You can have regular dog food. When you adding sweet potatoes and broccoli and blueberries and a little bit of this and a little bit of oil and a little bit of that, man, what's the point of going and try to buy $100 dog food? And I'm speaking about, in an 8-week period time. Because even I do it. I got a show coming up. I'm getting ready, you know what I'm saying, for this particular dog show or this dog show. I gotta go get my keep dog food. My keep dog food would have been Blue Buffalo or Taste of the Wild or something like that. One of them bags, it's one of them 2 bags I use. Just depends on which way I feel like leaning that day. And a lot of times it's Taste of the Wild because they advertise like they got real buffalo meat in it, and a real venison meat, and the way they advertising. So they advertising got me. You know, 6 Dog, what's going on? What's going on? Are proteins a must when it comes to a workout program? Do you have to use proteins? Can you go the whole 8 weeks with straight dog food and vegetables or, house food? Are proteins a must? And would you rather go, are proteins a must? And would you rather go proteins and dog food the entire keep? Nothing but proteins? I mean, the supplement, and dog food, not proteins, but the supplement and dog food, or dog food and whatever kind of house food you can use, but no supplements. Tan Cole say protein, 100% must. Yeah, I'm talking about them supplements like your RF1 Fuel or your Vertex or some people use the Bully Max. Different people use different things. So that's the proteins I'm talking about. Can you run a whole keep with just that and dog food with nothing else? Which I know a brother can, but would you rather run it like that, or you rather run it with dog food and your vegetables and your fruits and stuff out the house? Paul J, what's going on, brother? Just in here talking a little bit of dog talk tonight. I said, let me come up. Let me get in here real quick, man, because them puppies went to sleep for a few minutes. So I got a chance to get in here and talk with y'all brothers for a few tonight. Well, hell, since we just getting up in here, man, let me play my little video real quick. Back to the bay, man. We just checking these puppies out today. What I'm gonna do is a pedigree breakdown on each one of them. What you're looking at right here is 2 different litters. The orange puppy is a red boy Jocko Bolio. Hold up. Let me stop it for a second. Let me let it catch up real quick because it's kind of dragging a little bit. Hopefully this, when I start back, it'll be on track. We're gonna do a pedigree breakdown on her, and the yellow puppies are red. Let me take it off real quick. Pedigree breakdown on them. Welcome back to the bay, man. We just checking these puppies out today. What I'm gonna do is a pedigree breakdown on each one of them. What you're looking at right here is 2 different litters. The orange puppy is a red boy Jocko Bolio. We're gonna do a pedigree breakdown on her. And the yellow puppies are red boy Jocko. We'll do a pedigree breakdown on them, And what I got them doing right here is just basic playing with the rag and getting them real familiar with the flirt pole, that type of stuff like that, because that's gonna be some of the main bases that I'm gonna be using throughout their lives as far as getting them to chase things, whether it's something in my fingers, the treat, the toy, the flirt pole, it's gonna be one of the main things that I'm gonna be using is to open up their prey drive to get them to chase things. So what I'm doing is just letting them play. It's a rainy day out today. Just letting them play, shake the rag, and get acquainted with each other. Now we're gonna start with this little orange puppy, pedigree, like I said. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start on the 4th generation and start at the very top of the 4th generation, which you see all Welcome Out dogs, Crazy Eyes Jr., Walk. Yo, the thing froze up on me. Hold up, man. Yo, can y'all hear me out there, man? Can y'all hear me out there, my brothers and sisters? Man, that thing was jammed up for a few minutes, man. I don't know what's going on. I'll just run that on another video, you know. Uh, but yeah, man, I appreciate everybody coming down in the chat. Like I said, we speaking about getting them dogs ready, knowing when you got it ready, and what you do to get your dogs ready, or one of the things you used to do to get your dogs ready back in your days, you know. Even if you go to dog shows or whatever, if you want to come up and reveal one of your secrets, how do you do it, or how was it done in your days? Bradford Anderson, what's going on? What's going on? And another thing, man, I wanted to speak about too, since we talking about the keeps and stuff like that, you know. And I told you, you know, I always had water with me. And if I may forget it, but when I got everything that I need, I got my water for drinking. I got my fan for when it get kind of hot to keep them blowing on them, keep some good, good air blowing on them. Now, one thing I forgot to mention to y'all brothers and sisters, you know, and this was more or less back in the days. You can still do it now because you want to keep your dog cool no matter what the situation is, you know. But what I would do, I always would keep me a sponge and with a bucket beside me. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing this was I always tell you, you can teach dogs certain things. You don't want to teach them bad habits. You know, you don't want a dog to understand and realize when he gets touched with a sponge, it's all over. That's the end of his workout. His day is done. You know, and once he get touched with a sponge, and then he says, "Oh, my day is done," then most likely that's bad news for you. Back in them days, you know, and it depends on what you're doing now. You know, you never want the dog to stop working or make him feel like water means stop working. You know, because once you do that, like I said, you touch him with the sponge, he feel like, oh, I'm about to go get chained up now. You know, but what I used to always keep me a sponge. Whenever I take my little breaks off the meal and go walking or something, I sponge them down. I might take me some breaks on a meal. Just whenever get good and open up, I'll sponge them down real quick, cool them off, let them get the sponge in the mouth and stuff like that, and let them get back up there and keep on running. You know, it's not the end of the workout. It's just you getting a little sponge down. You know, and like I said, it just makes the dog understand that this is not the end. You know, because a dog will see that water bucket or see you putting some good cold fresh water on him, and he get relaxed. He'll go into quit mode on you. You know, so that sponge. It was, it's something I had to do. Like I always say, I used to count. I used to do my when I used to do my way I used to do my flirt pole with Bo, I'll take Bo and I'll hold him between my legs, and Bo be having a anchor chain. I have him pulling an anchor chain as well, because I flirt poling without that, it'd be kind of useless for what I was trying to do. But I let him go back and forth probably about a good 30 feet, back and forth, 30 or 40 feet. And then I put him between my legs and I put the flirt pole behind me. So he trying to get at the flirt pole, but I turn around just like I was in the square. And I count. I do the same exact count I do in the square over and over. That's all we do that whole night for like an hour, maybe hour and a half. Every time I let him chase the flirt pole about 20 seconds. Then I stop him, put him between my legs, count the 15 or 20. He looking at the flirt pole just like he used to be looking from the corner. Turn him back around, count to 10, say release my dog. And I let him go, boom. He go chasing after the flirt pole. Then I know the flirt pole got a chain on it. I got the chain on him rather. So he can't just run around super fast. I can catch him and catch back up to him and get, put him back between my legs again. But my whole point of that was to let him get used to people counting. As long as he can hear, once he hear that 1, 2, 3, 4, he hear any kind of counting, he know he's in his zone. You know what I'm saying? We in the play zone. So that was my whole thing of doing that. I count between my legs, so many times. And remember I told y'all brothers about muzzling. Some of y'all, this may be some of y'all younger brothers, you might need to go in the room, to the older fellas get finished talking right now, But muzzling, I was told one time muzzling will help your dog burn stomach fat, and that's when you put a muzzle on both male dogs or female. Both dogs got muzzles, and you just scratch them over and over and over. Let them come across the line, both dogs with muzzles on, and both dogs hit with muzzles on, and the intensity that they trying to release, they can't release it because both of them got on muzzles. So that's what's supposed to be burning the stomach fat away. But your thing is to just pick them up and scratch them like 100 times. No exaggeration, about at least 50 to 100 times. And my whole point of doing that was I scratch them so much, you dream scratch. You know what I'm saying? And when you go to a corner, scratching ain't even something you thinking about. You automatically coming. You know what I'm saying? If you got to scratch 20 times, because some of these red boy Jocko dogs, you get them out there, get them in that water, you're going to scratch all night if they get you in that corner. The way they, to get that scratching started. You're going to scratch all night. So I know I had to be prepared and have 50 to 100 scratches in me, at least, and that's my whole thing of doing that. He hearing this stuff. It's stuff that it's not new to him when he get around people, when they start saying these numbers and calling this out and saying this and saying that, so that was my whole point of doing that. But like I said, this is going on 30 years now, a little less than that. A lot of that stuff, like in my workout program now that I'm doing for a dog show, I don't have to do a lot of that stuff because I'm not trying to build that kind of strength up with my dog, So I wouldn't even do the same kind of activities. But dogs remember things. Same way I said, when you get one that'll lose, he can still be a great dog for you. He might be lost with the wrong kind of dog, man. And, he might was a great dog already, lost because some bullshit, because of the keeper, because they took him out the wrong kind of way, and you're gonna still let him be great after you get him. That's so possible. But you gotta remember that dogs, they learn fast, they smart, and once you teach one to quit, and he figured out a way that to get into a comfortable place where he can get to a chain or something, or go back and chill, then he'll remember to do the same thing again. That's one of the ways they mean by ruining one. You can do a lot of things as long as he haven't learned how to quit yet. Yeah, you did some ragdoll shit and you did this and you did that, but has he ever quit yet? Because once you teach him that, you taught him a way of survival. And unfortunately for him, in this pit bull game, it ain't the way to survival. At least back in the days, it's a good way to get called. So yeah, man. Now I wasn't real big on when I say real big, I wasn't really using a whole lot of fruit in my days. I know the fruit good for them, so don't get it twisted. But one of my homeboys put me on something when it comes to super greens and stuff like that. You can get it. I'm quite sure you can get it different kind of ways in the grocery stores, but it's super greens, and just regular super greens, and all that shit gonna be good for your dog. And that's why I say, man, the brothers in today's time, it's so much more stuff that you got an advantage to in this dog game when it comes to workout stuff compared to the brothers from the 70s and the 80s. Man, these brothers ain't have all that stuff to go get from the grocery store, and it's all broke down in powder form for you already, or and just the knowledge of you knowing certain things, to add to your dog food is different compared to back in them days. And just the upkeep alone. Brothers ain't having so much things to work with way back in them days, but brothers was way more hands-on with their dogs back in them days compared to now when it comes to upkeep and it comes to bringing your dog back after the show and all that type of stuff. The average brother in today's time can't work an IV and all kind of stuff like that. To get them dogs back right and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? The average brother from the 70s and the 80s, they can do that type of stuff. So, I mean, it just is what it is. I tried spinach. John Denver say, get that spinach. Now, I tried spinach, but I didn't have a real good success with it. When I tried it, I did it 2 different ways. But the thing is, I should have mixed it with some other stuff and just let the spinach be going inside of them. I tried to give it to him one time raw. He wouldn't eat it. And I tried to give him some canned spinach and he wouldn't eat it. But now, if I did it, I would have cooked it on the stove and give it to him, And then I guess I didn't really like spinach like that. See, I love spinach now, at least raw spinach, but when I was a child, I used to hate it. So I guess just by me not liking it, the dog, he ain't got to eat. If he don't eat the first 5 minutes, I'm thinking, oh, he don't like it either. But spinach is definitely good for your dogs. And they always say when you steam them vegetables and stuff like your collard greens, then different kind of greens you may steam, they always say keep the juice from that stuff. The juice got all the proteins and stuff in it, like when you steam that stuff. Don't just give them the vegetables, give them the juice off of it, or the water off of it, rather. Now, see, y'all young brothers, y'all don't know nothing about that peak performance that we used to have. It was that supplement back in the days. See, I need to talk to Brother Tom Garner. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want Garner to get me on the show, or y'all want me Garner to get on my show to answer that question? I want to talk about that peak performance because I heard that he was partners with the brother who owned Peak Performance the first time. And then they separated and Garner got his, he was doing his own thing. And the other dude kept running the Peak Performance. But I'm telling you, that Peak Performance, man, you can see the difference in your dog in a week, 2 weeks. And then they had all flavors, some for your puppies, some for your old dogs, some for your working dogs, some for your pregnant dogs. I ain't sure if it was the CNI John Denver or not, I just remember it was peak performance. And they used to come in little barrels and stuff like that. Different size little barrels. But I remember when him and Tom Garner broke up and went their separate ways because I ordered maybe one, maybe two jugs after they, they wasn't dealing no more. Maybe two jugs. I want to say he was overseas when I ordered it. That stuff was real good. I'm quite sure, that's why brothers like that RF1 fuel that Garner got. That's probably about the same thing. I wouldn't see why not. Another thing I wanted to ask brothers, man, which female pit out there is recorded for the longest show ever? Which female pit is recorded for the longest show ever? I thought one time that one of them females had about 6 or 7 hours, but I wasn't 100% sure. See, I want to know about two females. I want to know about the one that got the longest match, and I want to know about the one that got the shortest match. Or the one, not necessarily the shortest match, the one who is known for finishing all her opponents within 30 minutes. She may be a grand champion, finishing all her opponents within 30 minutes, at least, and down. And like I was saying about the key part as far as the working your dog, you always want that liquid water dripping from your dog mouth. You don't want that thick, dry foam and none of that type of shit coming from your dog mouth when it start getting hot and warmed up and stuff. You want it always to be watery, just like a tailpipe from a car. They say dripping water. You want your dog mouth to be dripping water when he start getting hot. And when he start barking or whatever, he on a treadmill, he barking and he running fast. You want water. It could be a little bit of saliva, but you don't want that dry mouth saliva. When you do that, you know you in the wrong area. You need to go back to the garage and do a tune-up. You know what I'm saying? You always want water coming from his mouth, no foam. And you wouldn't believe how many brothers don't really check their blood count of their dog before they go into a competition. How many people actually look at your dog from head to toe before you locked in with that person you were locked in with? Was they out there talking shit and you locked your dog in before you even went home and looked at him? How many people you think done did that? Plenty of people. I done did it already. Or did it before, rather. Talking shit. Don't even know how your dog really look at home, besides how he looked when you left. But I'm talking about as far as gums and different things. Now you get home and he might got white gums. Yes, sir, man. I appreciate everybody down in the chat. We just been talking about getting the most out your dog. What kind of food? The brothers say spinach. Some of the brothers say blueberries, and different things to get the most out your dog. And how do you know you got the most out your dog? Now I'm gonna tell you this. This is something I did. I know for a fact. I didn't do it on a keep, but I did it for several months to see how his body was looking. And I just fed him chicken alone without feeding him any other proteins or anything. I just fed him chicken, leg quarters alone. Someday I give him an egg. Someday I give him, might give him an egg or two for a couple of days straight or whatever. But for the most part, he was eating a leg quarter a day. And that, hey, I ain't gonna lie, his coat was good and shiny. And I couldn't really see his ribs or nothing like that. I couldn't see his ribs, so he wasn't really down, or nothing like that as far as weight wise. But he wasn't fat. He wasn't fat either. He was in pretty good shape. I think I got one or two videos. I'll see if I can pull up. I'll find him. He was in pretty good shape. But that was just off chicken alone. And truthfully, man, what's gonna really be better than meat in real life? What's really gonna be better for your dog than meat? If in the wild, a dog don't get a chance to eat no fruit unless he go to a tree and pull some fruit off a tree. He not looking for that. He looking for some type of meat. So in the wild, the dog not eat. He gonna drink water and he gonna eat whatever he kill or whatever he gets scavenged, which is gonna be some type of meat. He not gonna get no eggs. Where you gonna find an egg from? Unless it's a snake egg. So in the wild, and they're gonna be in shape in the wild because they're gonna have to run and survive. And the sad part about it, some of these brothers out there did news reports on, man, some of their dogs look worse than the dog that you'll find in the wild. I ain't talking about a dog that just start running straight. I'm talking about like a wild dog, a pack of wild dogs. The motherfucker dogs skinnier than them dogs. Mm-mm. What's one good energy boost food? One, if you need an energy boost and you got to add it to your program as far as food wise. What's one good food for energy that I can add at least 4 times out the week? If I don't give them to them every day, I give it to them at least 4 times out the week. Would the blueberries fall in that category too? Your kale, your broccoli. Or would you have to give them something with a little more sugar in it? See, most of y'all brothers and sisters, man, and y'all feeding y'all dog fruit and all that. A lot of y'all don't feed y'all dog fruit and that, and like on a test term. When I mean like you're using it in a keep, so you're trying to see, does the watermelon work doing this or does the apple work doing that? You just do it on a daily basis. You ain't keeping track of certain things. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say, can I give my dog watermelon in the keep? Will that help as far as his energy level? Giving them that juice, giving them that boost. Because see, when you don't use these protein shakes that they make for the dogs, like your RF1 Fuel or your Vertex and different things, if you don't use that, then you got to replace them type of things with some type of food that's going to give them that same type of thump and give them that same little extra, that extra weight they may need. That creatine will be considered the same thing like a protein supplement. Now the thing we have to do is, where can you get that creatine from in a real food? That same creatine that you're talking about. If I had to make the choice between dog food and protein shake, or dog food and the real food, I'm gonna take the protein shake because I'm gonna go out the easy way, me myself personally. I'm not gonna be the one to try to. It'll be a cool experiment, to sit down and try to figure out which fruit does this and which fruit does that and which vegetable does this, and try to master that shit. But just off top, I'm gonna get the dog food and the protein shake, and I'll make it work from there. Six Dogs say beef heart. My homeboy, he used chicken hearts and stuff like that. Trevor say steak. Now, when it comes to steak and stuff like that, let me ask you this, because I read something one time where it said a dog digested. It could be humans too as well, but I know it says dogs take a long time to digest beef, steak wise. Could steak be something that you feed a dog, other than it being expensive? Could it be something that you feed a dog on an everyday basis, like chicken, and still get the same or as much as or more proteins when you eat, throughout your week, without it being unhealthy? And I'm just asking. Torrent Cole said watermelon is good, natural water and energy. And then see, back in the days, we have to watch that watermelon, because that watermelon will give me that extra water to throw my weight. I gotta make sure when we eat the watermelon, it ain't nowhere close to our showtime, because that watermelon will throw his weight over a little extra, probably a little extra water weight. I never tried a beef keep, man. Besides beef dog food, it's supposed to be coming from real beef. I never tried a beef keep. I haven't tried a pork keep, because I kind of get the same when I speak to people about pork. It kind of be on the same level, almost like eating too much pork. You don't want to eat too much pork. Only thing about chicken I be worried about, man, I like to give it to them raw, because I know that's the healthiest way to give it to them, but it's not the healthiest way to give it to them. I like to cook it to make sure it ain't got no salmonella or none of that other type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I know, if they was eating it in the wild, they'd be getting it raw. And if they're gonna eat the bones, that's the way they need to eat it. They need to eat the bones raw, not cooked. So when I cook it, I have to take it off the bone and let them eat like that. Trevor said beef steak or pork have creatine. Beef has the highest amounts, but creatine monohydrate raw, no additives is best and good for older dogs too. John Johnson, what's going on with your big dog? What's going on? Just talking a little bit about getting these dogs right, man, and knowing when you got your dog in tip top shape, and what kind of foods that do you use to get your dogs in this shape that you getting them in. You know, we know brothers use high grade dog foods, but outside of that, when you're using all these extra stuff with all these high grade dog foods, you kind of, you never know when you kind of overdoing it in certain things. We getting the collard greens, we getting the eggs, we getting the rice, we getting this, we getting that, and we adding this stuff. Some of this stuff some of these dog foods do got. It may not have a lot in it, but it do got certain things in it. So you might be getting more sodium or more some of this or more some of that, and he may not actually need that much of. So that's why I was saying, you may be best getting a not the lowest class dog food, but a regular dog food, 20/40 or something with at least. I always like to have at least 20% fat in my dog food. At least if I'm going in the show or something like that, or for the winter time. Now, John Denver say pumpkin and seeds. Now, I heard pumpkin good for them, and we all know we heard the seeds good for worming and stuff like that. So that's a double-edged sword on that one. You can get something from the food wise and get you something from the seed wise. And the thing about it, if pumpkin seeds really, really work the way they supposed to work, why all of us don't got them right now in our arsenal? Pumpkin seeds in our arsenal. You know. I don't know about that, Trevor. But I heard one brother say on social media, when it comes to stuff like pumpkin seeds and wormers and natural wormers and different things, they're gonna always try to make it like that stuff don't work. Don't buy this. Keep it where we don't really hear about it that much because they want us to keep going to them stores, buying all that liquid wormer. And like you said, the pumpkin seeds, we can go start grow some pumpkins in the backyard and just have unlimited amounts of wormer throughout the year. Make it enough that'll last you throughout the year. Every time you get your pumpkins, make sure you get the seeds. And when them type of things work, they're gonna always make you resort to getting them from the store. And the worm medicine now is not like the worm medicine used to be back in the days where you used to can go and get your dog worm medicine and you see worms come out his ass. You know what I'm saying? Now they claim the worm medicine is deteriorating it and all that type of stuff. Man, but listen here. That Happy Jack they used to have back in the days, and it was another one they used to have. You give your dog that wormer, and if he got worms, they gonna come out of and like spaghetti when they come out. It was almost an instant 5 to 10 minutes when you get a dog to peel, you start seeing water dripping out his ass. That might be why they stopped. That may be why they stopped selling it because people may have started complaining. Some of them older people or something, they may have started complaining or something. I don't know. Now I use that Nemex though, but you gotta believe, man. You got to believe it's some natural worm out there that work better than that stuff or just as good as that stuff. Cause man, how many dogs are living in the wild from South Carolina to California? And I'm talking about when I say dogs, I'm talking wolves, coyotes, and wild dogs. Man, you notice a lot of them got worms. But man, listen here, man. Them dogs is eating something out there, and whatever they eating is helping with some of that worm stuff they got. And they might get it. The government might get it and use it and put it in paste, whatever the ingredient is, put it in paste and make worm medicine from it or whatever and capitalize off of it. But shit, our dogs get worms. They don't grow up to get big like a wild dog do that had never been wormed before, but none of them wormers from the store. They drinking out of rivers and everything. And you don't see the average wolf or coyote. You don't see the average one of them with no pop belly. Even though we know they may have worms because they eat a lot of raw stuff and stuff that they may take from another animal. So, it's probably they're gonna have more worms than a regular dog, house dog. But you don't see them animals walking around with no pop bellies and all kind of shit and looking wormy. Yes, sir, man. Paul Johnson say, beef, cottage cheese, green vegetables, no corn, and a small piece of liver. That sounds like something I have added to my I see what I have is the same thing what you just said: beef, cottage cheese, green vegetables. I have collard greens, steamed up, not all the way cooked, but just steamed up a little bit. And you said no corn. I won't have the corn and a small piece of liver. Normally I wouldn't have the liver, but my homeboy been putting me on the liver a lot, talking about the liver and stuff like that. And so I may have a piece of liver, but would I do liver every day? It's cool to do liver, a piece of liver every day. Uh-uh. Yes, sir, man. Y'all don't forget to hit that like button up out there and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to the channel. Like I told you, man, I had to go live when I can go live, man, because them dang old puppies, they won't let me play in that right now. I'll be saying I want to go live at 9 o'clock. As soon as I'm about to get ready, they start jumping up and moving around. Oh, yeah. Anybody who don't know, yogurt is a thing that brothers use a lot. I was always told plain yogurt with no flavor to it. But, I'm quite sure anybody can tell you if they use any flavors or anything like that. But I always heard yogurt was good for your dogs in a conditioning or exercise program. Let me see what Six Dogs say. Six Dogs say yogurt, collard. Yep, that's yogurt, collard, sweet potatoes, leg quarter. Yep, liver, gizzards, beef heart, and a cup of kibble. That sounds like something I have. That sounds like a regimen I use for that Six Dog. I might not have the yogurt. If I'm thinking about it when I'm at the store, then I will get it. That's one thing I hate too, man. Going to the store and getting that shit, and then, especially if you ain't did it in a minute, then you gotta forget. You done forgot something. Got to go back and get something else. But I know I have the collard greens, sweet potatoes, the leg quarter, and the liver and the gizzards. Now the beef heart, like I said, my homeboy put me on them hearts and all that shit like that. Them chicken hearts and beef hearts and all that stuff. And a couple kibble, like you say. And you got to use yogurt, man, brothers who listening out there. Don't go get no ice cream and thinking you can get some vanilla ice cream and do the same damn thing. The folk, whoever made the recipe, they say yogurt. The dogs like yogurt, and the yogurt helps the dogs. And it, even when your dog gets sick, you can give your dog yogurt and it'll bring them back. You know, so you got to use some yogurt, man. Now, another thing I know brothers be using, and I used this before. I can't say whether it made my dog the best he was or nothing like that, but uh cornflakes, adding cornflakes into your feed program, you know. But you just gotta know what you're adding this stuff for. That's basically it. And I was, doing it for, I'm guessing, fiber. And like I said, that's not nothing I did every single time, but it's just something I did throughout my days using cornflakes. Not frosting flakes, but regular bran flakes. That's what it was. Bran, like bran flakes. Wasn't even cornflakes. Now let me ask you this while we talking about the foods. What's a food that you feed, on a daily basis when you start, but you pull back on it about a week or so before the show? Is there any foods that you pull back from about a week or so before the shows come? When it comes to fruit, when it comes to vegetables, when it comes to your main dish, that's why I was saying about the beef or whatever, because I don't really know no brother who really gave me no kind of story about a fish keep doing a whole program and taking a dog to go to a event off of a pure fish keep, the whole keep off of fish. They can have other little things like berries and vegetables and different things, but I'm talking as meat wise, no other kind of meat but fish. And I have yet to speak to a brother that gave me a story about that, And I know a brother that may have did it before, but I just want to know, because all fish is not healthy for the dogs, for one. And can the fish provide enough nutrients and proteins and things to keep up with your dog working throughout them weeks as the chicken or as the beef gonna do? And another thing, I'm quite sure a lot of this stuff, because you can get the right kind of fish that'll probably be perfect for him to eat on a daily basis. But a lot of this stuff gonna start getting expensive when you start talking about steak every damn day and salmon every day. And man, you start talking about certain things, it's gonna get expensive. And I'm quite sure that's what plays in the part as well, man. You talking about 8 weeks, and that's just 8 weeks. We ain't talking about the brothers that feed their dogs like this every single day of the week, or for the majority eating like this all year long. For 8 weeks, shoot, well, that's a lot of steak that dog done ate in 8 weeks. I can't even say it as steak, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, Trevor. I gotta call it beef. I call it beef, I feel a little bit better about it. When I call it steak, I feel like, boy, I'm doing an injustice to somebody, boy. Mama eat steak all week. I better be eating. Well, look here. So I feel a little bit better calling it beef. See, It's so many things that we give these dogs, man, when we trying to get them in shape. We give them injections from B12. Now, we give them B12 injections, but there's a food that'll do the same exact thing. It may not do it as fast as far as getting into his bloodstream, but if you feed it to him on a daily basis or you feed it to him, certain times when you need that extra push, I'm quite sure it's foods that'll do every single thing. John Denver say him and his dog gonna be eating together. Hey, well, that steak keep can definitely work for you, dog. Cause now I ain't saying I can't work the steak keep. I can work the steak keep. I'm just saying, I'm gonna have to say beef. Ken Light and what it is, what's going on? And like I said, I was dropping a link down in the chat all night long for anybody that want to tell how they get their dog to the point where they trying to get them to, or what's some of the foods that you use or that a brother can use or a sister can use to get their dogs in a tip-top shape. Ken Light and you say you watching the game, you talking about March Madness or you talking about something else? I haven't been following up with the game. But I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm about to start doing sports. I don't know which channel it's gonna be on, but I'm about to start doing it, and I'm about to start doing it. It's all kind of sports. Talking about every damn thing. Anything you want to talk about. Y'all seen that dog situation that went down in Beaver County that I gave y'all today? See how it went down over there. Hey, it's some crazy stuff going on in this dog game now. I think I got enough people up in here. There's some crazy stuff going on up in the dog game now. You just got to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to throw rocks and swing baseball bats and do all that other type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But PBK be just here giving that dog talk, man, giving it to brothers. And you just got to pay attention now. I keep telling you, all I know is I get paid to report the news, right? I get paid when I report big news, and I'm just like TMZ and the rest of them. I'm on every damn corner. I'm every damn well. I'm trying to get the news, right? And man, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that dog man that got from New Jersey. I ain't letting them hold up. I ain't holding them up. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that dude from New Jersey who got jammed up with 100 and some dogs, and then he turned around, got jammed up again, trying to bring that dope in from Afghanistan or somewhere. See? Why they forget about all this type of stuff, and they worrying about all this little petty stuff. They worrying about all the little trolling. They worrying about all the little BS. And be shit like this that I be like, damn, these dog brothers is lost, man. What in the fuck? Don't they see what's going on around them? And then, like I said, you have some brothers who just don't give a damn. Sims Customs, what's going on? Man, hey man, I was trying to figure out your name the other night and I call you a whole different name than what your shit say right there. You know what I'm saying? But big thank you. Appreciate you dropping in tonight, my brother. Appreciate you dropping in tonight. Just talking about how to know when you got your dog ready, and what's some of the foods that you got to use in your program. You know, when you try to get your dog to be feeling that extra boost. You know, what are some of your go-to foods? Now, another thing I want to ask brothers, and like I said, I dropped a link down in the chat if you want to come up and speak on any of these topics. You know, next thing I got to ask you, you only got one thing you can use to get ready for this show. You can only use one thing to get your dog in shape. What would it be? You can only walk them. You can ride them on the bike, but you can't ride them on the bike and walk them. You got to do either one. You can walk them as far as you want to. You can ride them on the bike as long as you want to. You can run them on a treadmill as long as you want to. You can do cat mill. You can do the Jenny. You know, you can flirt pole, but if you flirt pole, you can't do nothing else but flirt pole. You know, whatever you do, you can only do that. If you swim, you can only swim. You can't do nothing else. Whatever you do, you can only do that one thing. What would it be? Van say treadmill. Oh, let me say this though. You can walk your dog, but you can run with your dog if you're running, like on your feet. But if you're walking, that's part of the walking program. You can run and jog with him, but you just can't get on the bike and walk him. That's two different exercises. Or two different methods of exercising, rather. See, dog say give him the bite. Now, I ain't gonna lie, you can get kind of slick with that bike now. You can slow that bike down till you damn near, the bike going down, wobble off to the side. You can slow that bike down to almost a walk. You can get slick with that bike now. The brothers with the treadmill, they gonna think they got that shit made. But they gonna miss everything else when they can't use nothing but the treadmill. Hey, Vance say he can run and walk on the treadmill. You damn sure right about that, dog. And the thing about it, some brothers use electric treadmills where you can definitely make them walk and run at certain times. You know? Man, I remember, I used to have them loud ass treadmills beside my damn house, man. I could get my dogs to running on them things, them old school ones. This was before I even knew anything about a dog trotter. I knew about them killer spinners and all that. I think they was during this time, but man, I had one of them loud jokers, man. My dog get the roaring on that thing. You can hear it. I can walk down the street. That's why I used to test my shit. I walk down the street and see how close I can get to the house before I start hearing the roaring noise. You know what I'm saying? Them things was loud. Boy, I'm glad they did upgrade it, boy. Hey, now, I ain't gonna lie to you now. Hey, Courtney Black, I ain't gonna lie to you now. I could take my dog out there. That's why I say play with them tennis balls, brothers. You know what I'm saying? Because, I'm not sure, which I can take my dog out there and get him that, out in that field and throw that tennis ball back and forth. She gonna run full throttle down there to get it until she get tired and she'll run fast as she can run. She'll pace herself and start running slower eventually. But I can take that tennis ball and get a good workout in it as well. Yeah. Trevor, you're right, man. It's a tough question because you never know what they like to do and what they do best. Some dogs flirt pole faster than they run on the treadmill. Some dogs run on the bike like don't run on the bike that fast, but you put them on a treadmill, they run like a horse. The same damn dog. So it just depends on what that dog like. and you see what you can get the most work out of them with that particular exercise. Big salute to Terrence in the building. What's going on with you? Yes, sir. Mr. 216. Yes, sir. Just talking about getting them dogs right, man. Getting them in tip-top shape. What you gonna do? What they look like? And like I was saying on my other videos, and what's some of the foods you go to when you want to go to your it's time to go to the little stash box. You know what I'm saying? What's your go-to food or go-to vegetables or fruits? Um, you know, yes, sir, man. Hey, Courtney Black said the same thing I was saying this now. You know, all you got to have is a recall on your dog. I didn't say nothing about the recall. Recall, for anybody that don't know, you can tell your dog to come here. And if you playing fetch with them from a puppy or a young dog, or you play fetch with them regardless a lot, they gonna automatically know to bring the ball back to you. And most dogs run back to you. They don't run full same speed that they left, but they come back fast to you, drop the ball, do the same thing again. We talking about right at 100 yards over and over again, as far as you can toss that ball, rather, you know. And if you can't throw it that far with your hand, you get one of them chunk-it toys, one of them chunk-it slings, and you can sling it all the way down there then. But that definitely helped me out when I was working out for the digital dog show. I stand on one end of the field, man, and throw that ball down there to the other end. Man, that dog had to run so far down there. Shit, I just sit right there. That's why I told brothers, man, the drone, man. I can't be giving y'all brothers all my secrets now. Damn, you're gonna be kicking my ass when I come out here try to compete in these damn dog shows and stuff like that. You know, Blueprint, man. I can't tell them all my secrets, but I'm gonna tell them one tonight. The drones, man. You know what I'm saying? I try to do a video for y'all boys and let you see the drones. You know, a lot of y'all didn't catch on to it. You know, the drones, man. I sit right there in one place and I hang a rag from the bottom of my drone that the dog gonna chase. He gonna chase the drone regardless. I put the rag on the drone. That motherfucker waiting for that drone to get. I have to make sure he don't get down low enough for he rip it up and tear it apart. And I take that drone and zoom it down the field. Man, you ain't seen that dog run, man. You know? And both of y'all having fun at the same time. It ain't gonna get bored. Like you just getting bored out there, you know? You can zoom them down there, zoom them back. Zoom them down there, zoom them back. Have them running all in circles and different things so he won't get bored running the same direction. And you stand in one place. The brothers from the 70s ain't had no damn drones so they can do all that shit. That's why I tell brothers, man, we in an age of technology now. Shit a little bit different. You know? A brother don't got no exercise equipment at all, Courtney. He ain't got no exercise equipment at all. He get that dog, teach him how to recall. He do that ball exercise we talking about, back and forth. You get him a drone. You can buy a $50 drone that, it ain't got to be no top-notch shit. Just something that'll go at least about 100 yards at a top speed, at a good speed. You can get you a cheap drone. Shit, man. In today's time, you don't need all that stuff. You can just be creative. Jump on a bike, get you some bike exercise, some walking, regular walking. Man, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. The drone, that's the activity dog that you can get so much exercise out your dog with, but you just gotta make sure you can fly it good enough where he can't get it. Because if he get it, it's gonna get you're gonna bust some blades up or something. So I practice on it a little bit before I take him out there and put the dog on it. Because you got to tease him with it. You got to drop it down where he can almost get it and just keep it right there flying in front of him where he can almost get it. You know what I'm saying? Keep it right in front of him where he can almost get it. And I'm telling you, that shit drives them dogs crazy. Because you automatically know them dogs, they crack up for them dang on them leaf blowers and them things like weed eaters and that type of stuff. They automatically crank up for that type of stuff. So when you crank that drone up, that shit go woo, and they see them little fans flipping real quick. Man, that shit cranks them dogs up. See, I would say a remote control car, you know, you could do the same thing with that. Only thing about remote control car, you got a better chance of getting caught. The dog will track that down. Even the brothers with them super fast cars, it'll be kind of different because the dog will figure out a way to cut the car off. You know what I'm saying? When you got that drone, you can stay in the air, he can't get it. You get in the air and get how you need to get to where you need to come down and zoom down on them again. You'll be doing him like the mockingbirds, or them birds come down and take the little bit of hair off their back. You'll be doing them just like that. And have them chasing, have them running it. Yep. Hey, Paul Johnson, you ain't lying, dog. Brothers, today's time, you got e-bikes. You don't even got a paddle to put your dog on no damn bike, no damn more. Back in the days, brothers had a paddle. You know, now they got the e-bikes. You can just charge it up, jump on a bike and go. Too much technology compared to what the brothers had. And you tell me these brothers today's time couldn't be better than a brother from back in the 60s? Just off default alone. You know what I'm saying? All the shit that you got at your you know, he may have had a different kind of bred dog or more solid bred dog than you had maybe at that time. But the things that you got and the knowledge that you got to add with your program is ridiculous. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, I seen a brother use the swimming pool. He used the swimming pool in his keep with with the rest of the stuff, and he had a good turnout for that. Can't say nothing but good stuff about the swimming pool. And I got another brother. I got another brother that he do the swimming not in the pools, but like in the oceans and stuff like that. You know, so and he get good results from his swimming. Hey, you right, Terrence, man. Just like them greyhounds chase that thing around on that track, it's the same exact idea. You know what I'm saying? Same exact idea. Besides, you can buy something they call I forgot what they call it. The little thing they zip out and got a little flag on the ground and zip this way and they dog got to chase it. You can buy them as well, you know. But the drone is making it a little more funner for you and the dog. Now I heard brothers saying about the sardines. Brothers say they use sardines. I've been hearing about that. But like I said, I did a little bit of research on fish, but not a whole lot. But the little bit I did do, I saw that all fish wasn't good in large amounts, you know, because of the mercury and stuff like that. So I'm not real familiar on the best fish for the dog. I know salmon is good because of the stuff that we buy in the stores, you know. But what would be the best kind of fish? Yeah, Vance. Hey, Vance, you 100% correct, Vance. And he don't think the condition is better today because they ain't the same kind of dog, man. Basically, what you said, you know, and you're right. The things that these brothers have today's time, if they was using it like the brothers back in the days was using, that's why I said the brothers back in the days didn't even have the health stuff that these brothers got today's time, but they was more hands-on as doctors. Them brothers back in the days could really doctor a dog. These brothers nowadays got all this high-tech equipment, all this stuff they can order offline, stethoscopes, microscopes, these kind of scopes, and dumb as hell. Can't go to none of them as a side vet or none of that type of stuff. Even though that ain't, what you're supposed to be doing. Get your license if you're into that. But I'm just saying, the brothers back then, man, that brother could put together a dog with a broke leg, any damn thing. Take him to him. Take him to so-and-so. He'd get him back, right? Take him to so-and-so. And he ain't had none of the stuff that these brothers in modern day time got. These brothers in modern day time got a chance to when they bring out the good conditioners from back in the days, the brother Ricky Jones, they say he was a hellified conditioner. They bring out names like that. Man, with the stuff that these brothers got in modern day time, these brothers should be like, man, Ricky was okay, but that's like comparing some of them brothers from the 70s basketball to the brothers from the early 90s, the 80s and the 90s. Jordan and Clyde Drexler and them boys. So I just think you right, dog. I don't think these brothers use what they got to their advantage, how the brothers back in the days would have did it. For one, they cared about the money more than they cared about the dogs. Back in the days, they cared more about the dogs than they cared about the money. Everybody want to make some money, yeah. But it wasn't how it is now back then. You couldn't blame a brother for not wanting to give you his secret sauce back then, because everybody wanted to have something that was beating the next person's sauce. But now when somebody do it, it's a money scheme behind it. Like when David Tant did it with Grand Champion Yellow, it was a money scheme behind it. He ain't out of it. When he did it, he kept Yellow living, Yellow dead. He's still breeding them, still making puppies. Yellow. It was a money scheme behind it. Yeah. That's why I gotta say salute to all the dog brothers out there, man, from one coast to the next, that they wanted to get their dogs out, but they didn't really care about all that, the fame and all that stuff like that. So they played the back streets unintentionally. They didn't try to, I'm on the low. It's just the way they move. They didn't want all that, and they bred their dogs the way they wanted to breed them. They got the lines that they want. They got the families of dogs they want. That's why I always say, it's so many people that's not on this social media that got bulldogs. They don't even, they're not hiding from nobody. They just don't be on social media. They just stay to themselves, do what they do, and got their bulldogs and been breeding them for years. Trevor say he don't like the fish keep. That's why I want to talk to a brother, man, that can probably tell us that they did a whole fish keep, a whole 8-week fish keep, and how it turned out for them. I kind of feel safe with pretty much any kind of meat as my main base, whether it's deer meat, chicken, beef, whatever kind of meat. As long as I got that meat as a base, I feel kind of safe with that. That fish, I ain't sure, man. And I'm talking about, I'll be cool with the fish in the confirmation show, but I'm talking about in the Wild Wild West days with the fish going into the box. I ain't sure if I'll be 100% confident in that. Yes, sir. Blueprint say money chasing versus trait chasing. That's what it's all about today's time when it comes to these dogs. That's what made the pit bull game so wicked. Money chasing versus trait chasing. Some brothers chasing the traits. Some brothers chasing the traits and the money. Some brothers just chasing the money. Now you might be all right. You be all right. You bump into a brother that's chasing the traits and the money. But you don't want to bump into the ones that just chasing the money, boy. Because they going to give you what you want. That's why I always tell you, make sure you know what you want before you go to these yards. Because you go there talking about, oh, I'm looking for a red boy Jeep. Go get that red boy Jeep from back there. Go get that red boy Jeep dog from back there. Oh, I'm looking for Eli. I got Eli dog over there for you. You ain't got to go no, got whatever you want. So always, go there and ask them what they got. Because the person is going to give you what you want. Trevor said a dog's stomach have to get adjusted to beef hearts and livers. Tool is seen it cause the shits. Now, this the thing, Trevor. Don't your dog have to get adjusted when you got them eating raw food compared to dog food anyway? Don't your dog have to go through some stomach adjustments? Like, say if I take him off raw dog food and put him on hard dog food, his body go through a little chemical change, his stomach and stuff, if I ain't mistaken. So I always wonder, how does that work when you're feeding them raw and kibble at the same time? Is he properly digesting one or the other? Is he properly digesting the dog food, or is he properly digesting the chicken? Because he's getting both of the foods. And from what I read, it's like you said, their stomach got to get adjusted. Y'all think I'm bullshit, man. I'm going to train one of these puppies I got to be a straight up find what you're looking for, dog. He can find money, he can find drugs, he can find whatever I'm looking for. I don't want him to bite. I don't want him to do none of that shit. All I want him to do is find whatever we say find. I'm going to train one of these motherfuckers, watch. Man, I'm gonna tell you like this. Like I said, I told them boys I done lost with a raw keep. If I got my dollar on the line, my top dollar, you know what I'm saying? I don't got enough win experience with that raw. I gotta stick with the what you call it, kibble. All my brothers who do them keeps out there and got them exercise programs. Let me ask you this. How many times do you lose before you switch your keep up? And is it the dog fault or is it your fault when you take your loss with your keep? How many losses was you allowed to take before them boys switched up and say, oh man, we ain't going to him no more? Now, Orlando say he from the 60s. Tuna fish and hard-boiled eggs. That's what I'm talking about, Ronald. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I give it to him raw sometime, but on a regular, I start trying to give my dogs cooked eggs, more than, because back in the days, I'll just drop it, let them bust it and eat the egg and the shell and everything right there raw. I start trying to give them more cooked eggs because I'm more conscious of the diseases and stuff they could catch, even though I don't know, I think they'd be straight for the most part. But I've been trying to cook my eggs and stuff like that I give to them lately. Hey, I can't remember which one of y'all brothers say y'all eat with y'all dog, or your dog eat what you eat. And I forgot which one of y'all said that. But only thing about that dog, when you do that shit like that, your dog start wanting to look at you every time you eat something. Start want to come around you and look in your damn face every time you go to eating. That's the only thing about that, boy. Hey, I think Vance said they didn't lose a lot. You know, I think that's a good thing, man. That's why I always say, man, brothers should take pride in. You gotta learn. You know, if you don't learn, you ain't gonna never know, or you ain't gonna never see from the failures and the different things you didn't do right, trying to get them in this perfect tip top shape. So you gotta try and figure out things. But once you figure it out, and this is the thing, you know, what if you get a good dog? What if you get a good dog and then your keep is all right? Your keep ain't all that, but you got a real good damn dog. And when you put your all right keep on that real good damn dog, you know you go on a winning streak. Now that can make you think your keep is better than what it is. It can happen to any of us. Oh, I think I got a hellified keep, but I'm all right with my keep, but my dog is damn over average. You know, and I ain't taking nothing from him, but I ain't doing the best shit to get 150% out of them either. So I always say, man, any brother who trying to get their dog in shape, you know, it ain't just something easy. It's an art, man. It's an art to this stuff, man. You know, you gotta want your dog to be that athlete. And if you want your dog to be that athlete, you're gonna put the right things in his body, and you're gonna do research to figure out what you need to give him. It don't matter because Paul Johnson ain't giving it to his dog, or Vance ain't giving it his dog, or Trevor ain't giving it his dog. You do your research on it, and if you feel like you wanna add that to what you're doing, then you do it. You know what I'm saying? You can't play follow leader every dang on time. You know, you gotta, reach out there and take your own risks and do all kind of shit, and it might benefit your dog what people don't understand or haven't got to that level yet. And like I said, when it comes to the weather, our weather back and forth. We hot some days, cold the next day, hot one day, cold the next day. But I ain't gonna complain right now because I know we about to get into that supersonic hot wave coming up. So I ain't gonna complain about it right now. I ran into one dog. I ran into one dog throughout my life that I had a bad feeling about him because he wouldn't really walk and run on the bicycle out the yard. But he'll run on the treadmill and he'll do all kind of stuff like that. He'll flirt pole, but he wouldn't really run out the yard and walk. When I go to walk on him, soon as I get up to the edge of the property, he go to pull him back on the leash. As soon as I leave him and get in the road, he pull him back. He ain't trying to walk nowhere. When I say he ain't, it's like he got a boundary right there. And as soon as he get close to that edge, he stopped. That was the only dog, and he did some good things, but I had a bad feeling about him. Just off the strength of I could deal with he won't run on the treadmill because I can always walk you and put you on a bike. But you not want to leave and walk out the yard, it kind of crippled me, man. It crippled me in that particular keep because I'm not used to a dog that I can't take out for a walk. I do too much walking on a daily basis, you know what I'm saying, and not want to take my dog out for a walk. So it kind of crippled me when I can't do nothing but put him on a treadmill. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't get my best keep into that dog. I know I did not because I couldn't get my walking and stuff in. But that just goes back to what Trevor said. It just depends on what your dog like and what your dog don't like. You got to work with the program. Now imagine, some brothers sending me that dog from California and want me to get him right, and I don't even know he won't walk. You know what I'm saying? I get him, And he won't walk on the chain and won't walk out the yard, but he'll run on the treadmill. Run on the treadmill. You need that walking. You need that walking. Yes, sir. Hold on for a split second, my brothers and sisters. Hit that like button up, subscribe to the channel, man. We ain't going nowhere yet. Just hold up, give me a second. I'm back. Appreciate y'all standing there with me. I had to check on the pups real quick. But yeah, man, like I said, the topic tonight was, if anybody wanted to come speak about it, knowing when you got your dog right, getting your dog in tip-top shape, and what foods do you use to give your dog that extra boost. No cold, no CODs needed. Big salute to you. No CODs needed. Said he'll never feed raw again. When he did, his dogs died early. You have to use parasite cleanse, excuse me, every 3 months when feeding raw food. When feeding raw, he'd rather cook the food. I agree with you 100%, man. That's why I stay away from it, because I know you can't play with chicken like that. You got to be careful what you're doing when it comes to raw chicken, how you throwing it out, how you giving it to them, and different things. So I really don't got time for all that, man. That's why I just stick to the kibble side. If I'm doing my keep and I add in some little meats or something, or some chicken, it might be cooked. If I'm doing it, it's going to be cooked. I just really, I can't rely on that raw right now, because I get too nervous. I start getting nervous as far as parasites and stuff. And one time I was feeding raw food when my dog got pregnant, and I had that bad pregnancy mellow yellow had. I fed her raw food half the pregnancy, and then I was trying to feed her kibble as well. But when I was feeding her raw, I was getting it and throwing it out fast, and putting it on the stove and throwing it out. And she ended up getting sick. But I don't know if she got sick from the chicken. But she ended up getting sick. I know I lost a show I went into one time feeding raw. I ain't do it the right way. I did a whole bunch of things wrong. So my dealings with raw is not good myself. So I'm gonna stay to that thing on dog food. But I will say, brothers who master that kibble and do the kibble and it work fine for them, I think that's the healthiest way to go when you're going real food. Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, Trevor. Something I did different this pregnancy that I didn't do last time, and I had a bad pregnancy. Cause I used that goat milk, that nurse all goat milk, and I was giving it to them. As soon as they got pregnant, I was giving it to them. You know what I'm saying? Just thinking it's gonna help them get fat, and I wasn't really pressed on the milk or nothing like that. But I didn't think about it either as well. And I'm giving them too much of that shit. I'm giving them too much of that nurse all, and it wasn't even time for them to produce that milk. So this time I didn't give them no nurse all. Period. To this day, I still ain't give her no nurse all. You know, I gave her one supplement I normally use. I gave her that supplement. You know, I just told y'all I can't give y'all my secrets, so I can't tell y'all that to another episode. You know, but I gave them that, and I just let her go natural this time, man. No kind of milk supplement. Now the supplement I do give, they do claim that they help with nursing mothers and stuff like that. So I don't know if they know that helped a little bit, but I didn't give none of that nurse all. And to any brother that may not actually know what I'm talking about, when I gave the nurse all too early. The nurse all, the milk replacement, I gave it to my dog too early, and she accumulated milk in her breast before she needed the milk in her breast. So make a long story short, the milk got sour in her breast and she got infections, you know, or she got mastitis. And that's because I know I had that old milk sitting up in her breast. When you need your dogs to be sucking that milk out on a daily basis. So that taught me, don't give them no milk replacement until that day or two when they about to, go into labor. We talked about the sponge as well. The reason I had the sponge around my dogs at all times when I was working them in the summertime, especially, just for to keep them cool and to always let them know that the work continues, even though you're getting wet down with this sponge, you still about to keep on working. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure that everything he's seeing on the day of that show back in the days, every single thing he was seeing, I want him to see that on a daily basis. I want him to hear the people counting on a daily basis. He hears somebody saying 1, 2, 3. He hear that on a daily basis. He feeling the sponge on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? If I felt like it was gonna be a certain amount of people around, make sure he ain't no scary acting dog. You know, um, and like I always say, never let your dog quit. No exercise he working in. You feel like he want to stop and he want to get tired and lay down. Stop him before all that. You don't want him to teach him how to quit. Y'all boys ain't told me who had the longest female match recorded in history. I don't know. I'm asking y'all because I had another question I wanted to ask, but I gotta have the answer to them first. Who had the most? Who had the longest match? And which dog was known for stopping all her opponents in less than 30 minutes? Female dog. And Kid Lightning, if you still in here, let me ask you this question as well. You was asking me about the dog. You was asking me about the dog breaking loose out of the garage or something like that. The question I want to ask anybody: how close is too close when it comes to a dog coming towards you and your dog? You walking your dog on a leash. How close is too close when you draw that line out and say, "Oh, something got to happen." You know. Man, I ain't gonna lie, I might go throwback Uber Canuba 1 month just to see how my dog would look on Uber Canuba. This is a dream, just to see how my dog would ever look on Uber Canuba. I ain't never feed that. It was too expensive back in the days. And it's expensive now still. Just feed them that, just to say, this so I can talk to somebody and they say, what you feed Uber Canuba? Hey Vance, that's a nice little piece there now. 4 hours and 30 minutes. But let me ask y'all this though at the same time. I'm gonna say maybe I said it a little wrong. Any of the famous bitches that we heard about throughout our days in the stories and stuff like that, that that we done heard this dog went for 6 hours or so. It's one of them female dogs that went for a long period of time. I can't remember what her name was though. It went for a long time. Yeah. Now I do want to say this before I get up out of here. It's only one way to train a warrior. You know, well, I'm gonna say it like this. You got to have trust. Whatever you training, they or it got to trust you in order to train a warrior. You know, you can start off from nothing, but they gotta trust you. And you can build it up to whatever you're trying to get it to or whatever. But the trust got to be there. And that trust, what I'm talking about when it comes to dogs, is gonna be that bond that you got with them dogs. You know what I'm saying? And your little, your little relationship that you got with your dog. Trevor says too much work. Yep, that's what I know. That's why I don't mess with it, man. Too much work for me. When I go scoop that little food up in that damn cup, scoop that food up and drop it in that bowl and they gone. Vance said he's seen a 430, right? Hey, Vance, let me ask you this question about that 430 because we were speaking about this a little while ago. That 430 quit. That 430 quit now. That one you seen go 430, that ain't the one you telling me about ain't the winner. But do you still breed to that dog, even though he or she quit? Or we was talking about female, so as a female, even though she quit, do you still get puppies off that dog? Now, she went 430 now, but she quit. Because they tell me a quitter is a quitter. So how do you rank that and how do you do as far as getting puppies off that dog, Vance? I'm just curious, brother. You ain't give me no answer yet, Vance, man. I'm trying to wait on you before I give my answer. I don't know nothing a dog that went 430 can do bad outside of hurting your family or something like that. Yeah, they lost. I just say, man, sometimes brothers be getting a little too ridiculous with that a quit is a quit. That loss is a loss thing. A dog went 430. stood the line, took the quit, however you want to say he did it. Jumped the box, however you say he want to did it. 4:30, and you gonna tell me you gonna tell me that's not worth breeding to. Not worth keeping and saving that dog. Back in the days I'm talking about. Brother said quit is a quit. A cur is a cur. But I can take that dog that lost, that curred out in 4 hours and 30 minutes. I could take him as a person who don't even own a dog, but I was at that show and I seen that 4:30. I could take him out to my next show with total confidence. Total confidence to the next damn show. You can lose with a dog that curved out in 20 minutes. You lose with that dog that curved out in 20. Can you do that with that dog? Take him out with total confidence and go into the next show? So a curve ain't a curve. You know what I'm saying? Curve ain't a curve. I'd be damned if you're going to take that dog that lost in 20 minutes. He curved out, jumped the damn box, and you talking about you about to get him and go out there and win some money off of him. And you kind of lie to me like you confident. Man, you ain't confident about that. You just trying to do something and lose some money. But that dog that went 4:30, anybody around that square, give me that dog. They know it's going to be a slim chance of none that they're going to run into that same kind of competition again. And if they do, she can tread the water. You know? So it's a difference. There ain't no such thing as no curves occur. They might have did the same activity to make the match be over, to get found as the losers. Hey, Vance, check this out. This is another thing. I don't even care if the dog was a grand champion or not. It could have been a one-time winner. And she went 4 hours and 30 minutes. She might not get rolled no damn more. You know what I'm saying? I might do it, but I might not, dog. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I'm just thinking from an older head right now. I know thinking from a younger head, she definitely would have got rolled again. Hey, that's another thing, Trevor. Once they go in that 4 hour mark, them heavy threes and them fours and fives, it most likely they don't live the next day. It's real super hard to bring one back once they go to that limit. Body all flopping your arms and they ain't got no kind of spirit in their body. But then I have seen something like, say a dog go 4 hours and 30 minutes, but he really lost in the first 3 hours. When the 3 hour mark, he really lost around that 3 hour mark. His owner ain't want to call it. His owner want to leave him down there and let him stay and keep going because he wasn't officially out. But he really lost at 3 hour mark to where he said he could call it. He just gonna leave him down there because it's so much money on it, you know. And he still lost. He lost regardless, lost his money regardless, but now he lost a damn good damn dog. Because you pushed him a whole damn extra hour and a half. When you had that lost a whole hour and a half ago, you could have picked him up, paid the money, saved you a good damn dog, and just bit the bullet. And it ain't no losers. Only losers is the dogs that die the next day. You know, when you got two animals that's going for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, both of them dogs are phenomenal dogs. In my eyes, the loser and the winner. You got two damn bulldogs there. Ain't no regular dog gonna stay down for no 3 hours. Ain't no regular dog staying down for no 4 hours. You got some bulldogs. So win or lose, in my eyes, you still worth breeding to. Because brothers ain't producing no 3 or 4 hour bulldogs on an everyday basis. Right the hell now. Why wouldn't if you see your dog gonna lose and he getting close to 4 hours and he gonna lose, why wouldn't you want to get puppies off that dog, save that dog, get puppies off of him to try to bounce back and come back and revenge him, you know, or anything? His daddy going almost 4 hours. Nope. Some brothers gonna leave him down. He gotta stay down there and destroy and kill a damn good damn dog. You gotta know when to pick one up, like Trevor Lady say. And that's 100% facts. I think we're gonna roll for a few more minutes, man. And then we'll get up out here at a 2 hour mark. We a couple more minutes and we good. You know, I appreciate everybody rocking with me tonight. You know, from the rooter to the tutor, everybody that been rocking from day one, and everybody just tuned in for tonight for the first time. You know, and like I said, I'll be going live a whole lot more often. I just gotta do it around the puppies, and I'm just getting back in motion when it comes to the lives. I've been doing my pre-recorded all the time. I'm just getting back in motion when it comes to live. So I just got to do a few lives back to back, and I'll be back in sync with everything. You know what I'm saying? Like I always say, man, you got any topics you want to talk about, drop down in the comments. Hit me up in the messenger or hit me up with my phone number if you got my phone number. If you want any kind of tips when we talk about any kind of training stuff or anything like that, that's way left from the pit bulls. Hit me up. I talk about it, man. You know, 'cause I tell you, I talk about anything when it comes to dogs. I'm a pit bull man, but I deal with all dogs. You know what I'm saying? So I'll speak about anything, you know. Hey, and just do the right things out there with these dogs. That's all we can do in today's time, man. You know, that's all we can do is do the right things and be out here for our family. That way we can support our family and do what we need to do for our family. You know, you can't support your family behind that being, man. You know what I'm saying? And shit. It's so many ways to go out here dealing with these dogs. If, you know, you at least got to have the knowledge of how to make your next step out here when it comes to these dogs. That's all it's about, man. You know, making better people. You know, you make better people, then you're going to have, you know, better dogs. Brothers going to take more pride in the dogs. You know, maybe we'll get back to that point where we taking more pride in the dogs than the dollar bill that come from the dogs. And see, that's the thing in this pit bull game. You got a lot of haters because it is a few brothers that take pride in the dogs. So you know, instead of brother taking pride in his dog and you taking pride in yours and he taking pride in his, it's a group of haters are formed. Oh, he think he is, and he think them dogs ain't shit, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. This dog ain't this, and this dog ain't bred that way, and so. You know, come on, man. Hey, Trevor, how that old boy dog you got acting, that new one you showed me, how he acting? How he been acting over the past couple of days? Hey, man, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, man, before I get up out of here, I'm definitely gonna say this, you know, and this ain't nothing new. I ain't said this, I ain't spoken nothing about this over the past couple of months, but this ain't nothing new. If you've been rocking with me for a long time ago, you remember when I said this a while back, you know, and this one thing I want to do. I ain't saying I'm trying to go out there and do that tonight, you know, but what I want to do is I want to bring some of that Rottweiler shit, not the Rottweiler color, but the Widow Peak eyebrows into my Red Boy Jocko I want to bring it in and I want to cross it back into the Red Boy Jocko and tighten it all the way back up. But I want to have that trait in there to where I can get the markings in my Red Boy Jocko. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to know, like I said, I'm a purify it back up. But I just want them traits to be in there so where I can be getting them markings. I love the markings that them dogs have. Like I think the Boils markings. Some of the Boils dogs have them. Some of the Bolio dogs have them. And like your Rottweiler color dog, but I'm not talking about the black and brown ones. But just imagine that color on a brown dog. You know. So I'm gonna find me something I'm gonna breed to that's bred the way I like it, looking the way I like it, and acting the way I like it, and hopefully it be having them markings. And I'm gonna get me a litter off something. Yeah, Trevor say them Tatanka traits. Yeah, you're right about that. And this the thing, I want to make sure. And like I said, I can't get the perfect dog out there. It may have the traits I mean the look I want without having the thump I want, or not being as athletic, or not being as game, or I'm gonna lose on something. I'm gonna really have to. That's like saying trying to find a perfect person. But especially when I'm looking for a particular color to add to it. It'd be easy for me to just get a Tatanka dog, but we'll breed into any Tatanka dog, make sure I have them traits in my dog. Now, I'd love to find me a good strain, a good family of Bolio dogs that got them traits in it that's showing up in the offspring. And that'll go right along with what I'm already running right now with the Red Boy Jock on the Bolio stuff. But as long as I like the dog, I'm not really focused on the bloodline. As long as I like the dog. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all brothers and sisters tonight, man. I'm about to go ahead and get up out of here. Y'all have a safe day, safe evening, safe morning. Just depends on where you at. Stay legal out there. Remember where you got it from first. Your boy PBK9 is on the PBC, and I'm out.